I am here today to interview an expert about the Supreme Court case Bush versus Gore. So, what was the Supreme Court case Bush versus Gore? Well, the Supreme Court case Bush versus Gore is one of the most controversial Supreme Court cases of all time. It basically decided the 2000 presidential election between George Bush and Al Gore. It was a very close race. Al Gore was in the lead with 266 electoral votes, and George Bush with 246. This included all the states, except Florida, with 25 electoral votes. The count from Florida came in with Bush winning by a mere 537 votes, declaring Bush the winner. Due to the close race, a machine recount of the ballots was issued. However, many argued that the design of the ballots may have confused the machine and were incorrect. The Florida Supreme Court demanded manual recounts. However, the federal Supreme Court, making an appellate review of the Florida Supreme Court, demanded to take on the case. And what was the argument given by both sides? Bush campaign argued that the recounts demanded by the Florida Supreme Court was unconstitutional in infringing the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. However, the Gore campaign argued that Florida had the jurisdiction and took the right steps in making sure that the election was fair. How long did it take the justices to make a decision? Just 16 hours after hearing the arguments, the Supreme Court made a decision. What was the vote? The court enumerated a 5-4 vote. Bush won the case and was officially ordained President of the United States of America by the Supreme Court of the United States of America. And what was the majority opinion? The court decided that there was unfair problems in the recount and that they were running out of time before the president was inaugurated. Unbelievable. And what was the public's response? Well, of course, Bush supporters approved and Gore supporters disapproved. If you were a Supreme Court justice during the case of Bush versus Gore, how would you have voted? I would have voted in favor of Bush because I believe that no recount should have been issued. Back then, it took a long time to count votes, and there wasn't much time for a recount. It was a very close race that was determined by 537 votes. I understand that it must have been very frustrating for Al Gore, but that was the results, and there's nothing you can do about it. If there was a recount and Gore would have won, then there would have been even more suspicion and outrage. I understand. Well, thank you very much for letting me interview you, and I really learned a lot. Thank you. During this interview, I mentioned 5 constitutional terms that you may be unfamiliar with. Appellate meaning having power to review decisions of lower courts. Infringe meaning violate, transgress. Jurisdiction, the power, right, or authority to interpret and apply the law. Enumerate, to determine the number of. Ordain, to order by or as if by decree. Thank you.